and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca and I am doing my section today of my Heaven and Earth designs. I've been doing rather well, I must say. So I do have feet on the angel now. We're starting to get into a bit more blossom, so that means lots of random pinks, and we have something here. Oh, I have popping diamonds as well, but I have something here, not quite sure what it is. Don't think we really get to see any of it in here. Just looking at the chart so far, it seems as though we do have a little bit of the pink because I have hit the number for pink already. So there is a little bit of the blossom showing, but then this is mainly black and browns. So it will probably be the next one before I start to see what this one is. I've not run out of a colour yet, just in case you're wondering. It's not happened yet. But I can see progress. So I have my little chart. This is where I'm up to. So I still have quite a way to go, but I do feel like I'm getting a chunk of the way in. It's been a few weeks now, and I think I worked it out to being about 4 months worth for it to be finished doing a section a day. So I'm not doing too bad overall. But I've just got 2 of these, and of course they're making me count 4 in each time. But you can always tell when we have a bit of blossom when I end up with the first couple of numbers of pink coming in. So let me go through questions and stuff that have been left on my last Heaven and Earth design WIP and Chats. I thought it might make more sense if I answered Heaven and Earth design questions on a Heaven and Earth design and answered the other WIP and Chat questions on my other WIP and Chat. I figured it would, it just makes more sense to answer them in that way, and follow the discussions on from one to another. Now, because I do film this Heaven and Earth design WIP and Chat at the weekend, but it tends to be a Thursday now that it tends to have gone up on. It sort of feels as though it's part way through a week. Oh goodness me, this is 4 across and then a gap of 4. So it's on the 4th, but then a gap of 4. Okay, I got it. So yeah, so there is only a couple of days worth of questions, but any that are asked through sort of the remainder of the week, as people, catch up on videos depending on what's going on in their daily lives, I will be sure to keep those for the next one. Oh, quite a lot of this pinky colour. But yeah, the cat lady, she says her tablet has recovered. Woohoo! She said she gave it a few full charges and now it all seems to be fine. That's good. She said she's actually changed to choosing her colours by the icons now. So she says she has 88 colours on a 44 by 45 centimetre canvas. And she got tired of putting only 1 or 2 drills on at a time. She does 4 10 by 10 squares, so this amount at once. So now she said she has a few more drills to put on each time. She is 12.74% done. Woohoo! She says she agrees, go for a poured glue kit. She said as hers she got from Smith's Beads, and they use double-sided tape, but she's persevering. Yes, I'm persevering with double-sided tape as well. As you may notice, when I've popped a diamond down and it's a little bit out of place, it's a lot harder to nudge into the right place when you're working on double-sided tape. So I tend to find it's actually easier when I place the diamonds around it to nudge them. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. And hopefully when I place the diamonds in the surrounding areas, it will line up a little bit better. Here's hoping anyway. I try to put them down as neat as I can, but I am using one of our pens that actually launch, when you're watching this, they launch tomorrow night. And I thought I'd use a nice pale blue pen to match this pale blue tray, because it's nice to have matchy and it reminds me of nice spring skies, which I keep dreaming for. I know it's only February, but I can dream. I can definitely dream. Lynn, she says she literally laughed out loud when I said I still only had 4 single drills or single diamonds of square 221s. Yes, I do. She says she has no experience doing cross stitch at all. So she had questions in relation to how big a size and how she should start. So she says she has no experience doing cross stitch, so she'll start doing 1 or 2 squares and then do more as and when she feels comfortable with it. And I definitely think that's the best way. Say my mum has cross stitched for years, and she still just does 1 square at a time. She is working off paper. She's working off the paper chart, so I can I have done those 2. So I can completely see why she is, but she's also enjoying the process. So she's enjoying just doing it bit by bit and letting the experience last as much as anything else. So that's always a good thing. She said, thank you for the good chuckle and the advice for a heaven and earth painting. Jackie said she has just checked her spares for 221. And she says she hasn't got either round or square. She said not that she's been diamond painting for long, but she was intrigued. Yeah. It's a random little set of diamonds, but you never know if they're going to be the needed diamonds. Let's just hope if I ever have a painting that runs out, it doesn't run out of 5 diamonds when I only have 4. Because that would just be rather annoying, would it not? Okay, let's see, have we got just the one of the next one? I know I'm going to have a lot of black in a minute. Quite a lot of black in this painting. And I do try to put my tablet sort of in the middle of directly above the section I'm doing. I have found that makes things a lot easier. If I end up keeping the tablet to one side, it's so easy to put them in the wrong place when I do that. Whereas by putting it closer to the section, I find I'm less likely to make a mistake. So I have still done that, and I have still had to move move things about. Doesn't help that this glue dot I'm using is a new one, so it's rather sticky. Doesn't help me nudge stuff. Normally I'll push against the diamond and against the tip of the pen to nudge stuff out the way, and that's definitely not as easy to do with a fresh glue dot. But we'll get a nice section of this completed now with the black. Leishka, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, I hope you're doing well. She says she's just wondering if I have made any progress or have even completed your smaller Heaven and Earth design. She said she hasn't seen me work on it in a long time, which is true, and she would love to see the progress on it. So I haven't worked on the smaller Heaven and Earth design for a hot minute, for quite a while. I do enjoy the small one in the fact that, specifically the case, there is only 15 colours in that one, so I can actually complete a section quite a bit quicker because I'm not tipping, you know, 1 or 2 diamonds onto my tray or into the pot lid all the time. I'm doing a decent chunk of diamonds every time I get a colour. So it is a quicker one to do. However, I have decided that for this year, and I think I may well have unconsciously decided it earlier, because I have only been working on this one for quite a while now. I did quite a bit of it in August of last year. I did a challenge to do a section a day and got halfway through it, got to 50%. So a nice good chunk of it got done. But then I haven't really, with Advent, Christmas, going away to visit family, I then didn't really get to touch either Heaven and Earth design for quite a few months. So the last WIP and Chat I did on that Heaven and Earth design is probably the most updated it is. I have not done a lot at all. My main focus now is to finish this big one. So I am doing a section a day, each and every day. The last WIP and Chat that I did the last Thursday, I'd actually already completed my section on Saturday morning and actually filmed it Saturday afternoon. So I did 2 in a day. And I still did my section on the Sunday. So I sneaked in an extra section. But for this one, I am filming this on Sunday before I will be going to help a friend decorate her front room. So this will be my section for today. I'm not going to try and squeeze in another one. Weekends can be a bit busy. I mean, through the week I'm forever busy, but the weekends can be a bit busy with other things. So I will be doing my other mini Heaven and Earth design, but only when this one is finished. I think I've enjoyed the process of doing a section a day with this one. It's like it's my wake up coffee time is when I tend to primarily do this Heaven and Earth design. I'll do it while I'm having my cup of coffee, while I'm waking up, and then I'll often be done at just gone 9 o'clock, and then I'll start my work day. Because it takes about an hour or so to do a section. But I think even though it takes a chunk of my day, because I do it at the right time of day, i.e. first thing, I don't think I'd necessarily achieve much else in that time frame anyway. While I'm waking up, quite often it just used to get wasted just browsing things on my phone. I might get a couple of bits done, but nothing of substance would get done. So I think what I'm going to do is, when I have finished this one, I think I'm going to continue doing my other one. And I think it will actually be easier because there is less colours. It will actually get done quicker. So I'll feel as though I'm getting some of my time back because I can complete a section quicker, but I'll still be achieving. And I will work my way through my mini afterwards and sort of keep it going. I'm not going to do the maths on how long it'll take me to do that one or anything like that yet. I don't want to freak myself out by adding them both together and realising that it's going to take me all year. Plus, who knows what life will throw at me. By the time this one is finished, I may well need all the time in the world for getting the Advent stuff ready. Depends how much I can, you know, I'm already doing stuff for Advent now, so it depends how long that takes as to whether I need to claw back the time and actually make it a project for later on. But yeah, it's still here. I've not done any. The big one is my task now. I started it before the small one. I probably shouldn't have started the smaller one until I'd finished this one. That was probably a bad move. But it will be a lot quicker to finish because it's a lot smaller. So that may be all the incentive I need to get that one finished. And then I can start looking at doing the blank canvas that I have, because I quite like the idea of not having to have a tablet while doing it. But yeah, again, that's something I'm not even going to start looking at what diamonds I need, what diamonds I have and all the rest until these two are finished. But I'm on 58.97% as I'm going now. It'll probably jump up, or hopefully it will jump up a little bit once I tick and confirm all this black. But yeah, it's getting there. Nearly hitting 10%, so that's a fifth of the amount that I set myself the challenge to do. That will be a fifth of the way through. That's like another little milestone. So if that's taken me about 3 weeks, that's probably about right. So it's on 59% exactly now. I have hit that the black is done. But yeah, stay tuned for the smaller one. It looks exactly the same as it did for my last video. Right, what's my next colour? 315. Daleen, she said hi there. She said she started her Heaven and Earth design the end of August 22. Okay, so that's not that long ago. She says if the row she's on now is finished, she said she will be at 50%. She said it's the main diamond painting that she's working on. She does an off the canvas if she needs a break from it. So she just does an off the canvas item. She said, speaking of next design, she said she would love to do a Josephine wall. Oh, I actually don't need that one. I was looking for that one at the bottom, but it's my next section. I don't even go there placing anything in the next section. She said she's already bought the chart. She says, but next up she will be doing a custom of her daughter's. She says, love your painting, it's gorgeous. She says she's still anxiously waiting her order, but the South African postal is a mess. Yes, I feel your pain, though the UK seems to be trying to get to the same sort of league at the moment. yeah, anyway, less talk about postal woes, the better. Somebody did ask, I think it was last video, where my mum is up to on hers. I have actually I've spoke to her this week, and she said she's very close to hitting the 50% with hers. So where I started my challenge to get it finished. She does 1 or 2 squares every single day, and yeah, she's just loving the progress. She started it at some point at the end of last year, I think, so she'll definitely complete it quicker than me, though I'll complete mine if I keep up with what I've been doing. I'll have completed mine before she's completed hers. However, she'll have done it a whole lot quicker because mine's been 3 years, which is a long time for one diamond painting. I mean, I know it's a big one, but still. Stephanie, she says she has just designed a diamond painting in Stitch Fiddle. She's downloaded the PDF and she imported it into Pattern Keeper. She said she had to do a little bit of a messing around to get the colours and the symbols to show, which, yeah, you do. There's certain PDF types that are supported sort of straight away in Pattern Keeper, and then there are some PDFs that you need to input data yourself because it can't quite read it all. Heaven and Earth Design is one that it can just read, thank goodness, because I wouldn't want to mess about on top. She says she's done 9 squares. She said it's 80 rows by 140 rows. She's using Diamond Dots freestyle drills and canvas. She said so it is a round, but it still looks amazing. That's good to know. That is something that I wouldn't mind giving a go. Once I have cleared, of course, my current projects, Heaven and Earth Design projects, are well and truly completed, is I wouldn't mind trying one in a round. I actually have more spare square diamonds than I do round, but I do know that it is a question as to whether a round one can be done. So it is something that I kind of would like to figure out whether it can be done or not, or how it looks. I think that's the thing. It can be done. It's how it looks when it's done that is the question. So that is something that maybe I look for a mini one when I do that. She says she does have a blank canvas from Heaven and Earth Designs and drills. She says, and she's going to start a Carolyn Manning's stained glass sampler conversion after her trip away. Ooh, go girl. I like it. I like the fact, you know, it's not for everybody. Heaven and Earth Design isn't for everybody at all. But I do like the fact that those that it does interest are giving it a go. It's a different type. It's like of like mini challenge. Oh, we've actually got a 550 in here. Not had many of those. I'm actually able to just get the diamond out the pot due to the fact that I have such a sticky glue dot. Kim says, quick question. She said, where would you recommend for a blank canvas and how does she work out the size? So for a blank canvas, I think if we're talking somewhere that ships anywhere in the world, I think Evermoment now produce poured glue canvases. Evermoment is a store on AliExpress. They would probably be my first choice to check out. in relation to whether they can do it and what price they are. They're not the cheapest. They won't be the cheapest for a canvas, I can assure you of that. But their quality is good. So if you're not choosing to get a canvas directly from Heaven and Earth Design with the symbols already on it, and you want to do the chart and the blank one, then I'd probably try Evermoment. I haven't had to buy a canvas for a good couple of years due to still being working on this one. So I haven't really explored who does poured glue as an option. My mum did get a poured glue, but she actually got it from an Australian seller who offered the poured glue canvas. So yeah, I would try Evermoment. In relation to working out the size, I think, if I remember rightly, you timesed, I do have a video on this, so do check out my Heaven and Earth Design section of videos. The easiest way to get them is if you go to my website, addmorezest.com, and go to videos. There is a section called Heaven and Earth Design. And in there, it doesn't have like all my WIP chats and things like that. You can find those in the playlist on YouTube and just hit play and sit and diamond paint. But it does have more of my key how-to videos in relation to a Heaven and Earth Design. So it's more of the key information in one place for you. So go there to be sure, but I think you take the number of stitches and times it by 0.25, which is basically 1/4 of a centimetre, which is the width of a drill. You can get 4 drills down in a centimetre. It makes me want to check now. Can I get 4 in a centimetre? Yes, you can get 4 in a centimetre. So you times the stitches by 0.25, and that will give you the amount of centimetres that your pattern needs to be. So times your width, times your length, and that will give you the size of your canvas. It is worth adding a centimetre or 2 just to be sure, because if I remember rightly, it's not exactly 0.25. There's like another very, very small fraction in there that may or may not affect your canvas size, but there would be nothing worse than getting your canvas and then finding out you either can't put a row on the side or you can't put a row on the bottom because your canvas isn't big enough. So I'd add a centimetre for comfort. At the moment, I have 1 extra square down this side due to adding that little bit of comfort. But yeah, check out those videos because I do discuss more there, like what you need and the measurements you need to use and all that sort of stuff. And that video was made more when I did mine, so I definitely had the information a lot more forefront in my mind than I do now. If you're doing round, the measurements would be different. Round diamonds are bigger, so don't use the same measurements to pick a canvas for a round painting. Bexon says, hi Rebecca, says I'm going to do one of the Heaven and Earth free canvases with her spare drills. Yes, they do have quite a couple of free canvases, and they're really pretty as well. She says by the time she has all the colours, she says if looking and the time it goes collecting them, it will be 2050 when I get to start. But started and done, it's going to get you this. Sometimes it does take a while. There are often people that are happy to send drills that help people out. I know I've sent some from my extra spares box. So I have loads of them and loads more. I've sent a few of them out to customers actually with their orders recently. So there are people that are more than happy to help out. Just make sure that if you are asking for help with diamonds, one, state it is a Heaven and Earth design project. I think it's only fair to know that it's not sort of an emergency, I'm missing diamonds. It's a, I would really like help. And also make sure that you state what country you are in. There is nothing worse than somebody taking the time to check their diamonds. You know, it does take time to check what diamonds you have that match up, in effect for a project that isn't yours. And people are more than happy to do it. It's not that they're not willing to do it, but there is nothing worse than taking that time to check your diamonds for somebody, message them with what you have, and then find out that they live on the opposite side of the world and it's going to cost you an absolute fortune to send them. It's not fair. So do pop what country you are in. And then some people may more than likely still agree to send them across the world, and that's fine, but they've made an informed choice rather than feeling as though, well, I may as well send them now because I've put all the time and effort in. When really they would have just scrolled past the post or, you know, commented and said, sorry, I'm in another country, if they'd have known. So that's all I ask. Let people know what it's for so that they, you know what they're helping out with, and make sure you put what country you're in so they can make an informed decision as to whether to spend their time and potentially their money posting diamonds to wherever they need to go. But they're a lovely bunch, and it's amazing how many people are more than happy to help out with diamonds. So it's worth doing. Just bear in mind, if it's one of the free ones, they may well have already given them away. Depends on which ones it is. Amy says she, excuse me, she says she finds out that if her son has put the brightness up on her tablet, it won't hold a charge either. Yeah, that can definitely sap battery. This tablet, I find, I mean, I bought it for this, so it is 2-3 years old, but it's not that old. It's only as old as my design, which is probably been going for far too long. So yeah, my tablet is now 2 to 3 years old. It will let me do probably about 4 or 5 sections of my Heaven and Earth design before it needs charging. But I do have my screen set to never go off unless I turn it off. And that's because Pattern Keeper can go a little bit funny. I find if the screen goes onto a screensaver and then you open it up again, it can go a little bit funny. So I've set it to never go off, which means that I can make sure I can work on the section. If I disappear to go answer the door or make a brew or, you know, whatever I may be doing while I'm doing it, yeah, it lasts me about 4 or 5 days before I have to put it in charge. Lady Dax, she says, oh, Rebecca, she says, you are such a tease. She says, fancy parading that red pen and then saying you don't know when it will be launched. She said, it's red, she says, and can you see me stamping my foot? She said she wants it now. Well, I know you've definitely seen the announcement because I think Megan tagged you in a post. But the red pen is launching what will now be tomorrow for you guys, along with all the other colours. We weren't sure if we would get all the colours have arrived from our supplier, which is why we weren't sure when we were launching them. We wanted to ensure that all colours were there, because if we just released a few colours and then we brought out more colours and you preferred another one. I mean, I know we have done that with some things like the pencil cases, but there was a few months between them. We didn't want it to just be a week or less, a week or two between each one before we launched another colour. So yeah, at least you can be happy now, Lady Dax. Your pens are going to be there. A couple of different red ones, so I think you've got one of them already. I think you may have got one in the Advent. If I remember rightly, I saw you post showing your Advent calendar goodies, and you managed to get red for both your trashy and your pen. And I would love to say that was planned, but I don't think I was able to plan that. But it worked out well. Okay, so next question. We've discussed pens enough. Maybe not. I know somebody did say they would like an orange pen, but unfortunately they don't make an orange pen. If they ever do, we will bring it out. We have every single colour that our manufacturer can provide in the metal and this style of resin pen. So we do have every colour we can get hold of. If they ever bring out more, we will stock them in the future to give a nice choice selection. Crafty JJ Newton, she says, when getting a Heaven and Earth design, she said, what count is better for a beginner? She says 14 count or 25 count. She says she's not sure if she understands the difference. Okay, so 14 count or 24 count is actually in relation to material used by a cross stitcher. So if you're planning on doing it as a diamond painting, that is irrelevant. Diamonds only come in, well, for the purposes of this, they only come in the one size, which is this size. So those measurements won't make any difference. In relation to if you're wanting to do it as a cross stitch, then 14 count is probably your best start. And what that means is that there is 14 squares on your material per inch, and the 25 count is 25 squares per inch. So it works out to be a lot smaller stitches. If you're diamond painting it, just like I mentioned in the previous question about sizing, you need to take the number of stitches and times it by 0.25, and that will give you your width, and then take your number of stitches in the length and times that by 0.25, and that will give you your length for your diamond painting. She says she's a mini picked out that she actually wants to do the one that I am working on in a mini. The one that I'm working on, do I have my sheet here? So the mini that I have is actually 46 centimetres by 82 centimetres. I'm up here somewhere. So I think once I actually get going on it, I'll get through it quite quick. But yeah, it's 46 centimetres by 82. That one is the size that you'll need. I think for that, I actually purchased a canvas that was a bit bigger. It actually worked out cheaper than getting one exactly the same size for me, though it was a double-sided tape. And I just cut off the excess. Because as I say, it worked out cheaper than getting a custom smaller one. but yeah, it depends on what size you can find, but you can always have a browse on AliExpress to get some rough pricing for that. I think mine might have been 50 by 100, something like that. And then once I'd done a few rows, once I'd done a couple of rows across, I just cut off the excess, left myself a little border. Of course it was sticky, but I left myself a little border and then cut a line down just so that I wasn't messing about with excess canvas, and got rid of it that way. And it just worked out cheaper. Saved me messaging a seller as well. The video I do about doing your own heaven and earth design, I'm pretty sure I do talk about the message to the seller, and ensuring that you use, in effect, plain and simple English, because their primary language isn't English. Some of them speak English and speak it great, but some of the stores also use the likes of the translator app as well. So they actually translate your message into their language, and then translate one back into English for you. And if you use too complicated words, the translator apps just can't get it. They just do not comprende. Anna says it's already looking so pretty, and she said it's great progress. Thank you, Anna. Right, 3326. I'm going through this case like a whiz. Well, until I get to 3371. I know this is 3371. Means I can get quite a bit done when I get to that colour. But it's all these pinks. It's amazing how many pinks are all mixed in when I end up in a blossom section. Always takes me longer for a blossom section, but what are you going to do? It looks pretty when it's done, so you continue. Angie's Pantry, she says, wow, she says she's never seen anyone do a kit like this. There are a few of us mad enough, Angie. She said, pretty cool. She says, can you get both the paper printout and the tablet use like you're doing for the pattern? So yes, in the fact that when you purchase a pattern from the Heaven and Earth Designs website, it is sent to you as a PDF download. So it's sent to you as a PDF file. You get it pretty much instant. And then when I was first working on this, I was working on it from paper. So I printed the PDF out and worked on it on paper. And then when I got the tablet and Pattern Keeper, which is a game changer for it, I just imported the same digital download pattern into Pattern Keeper and did it through that. If you are perfectly fine working with technology and have an Android tablet that you can put Pattern Keeper onto, it is well worth the one-off, I think $7.99 for it. It makes doing the likes of a diamond painting from a cross stitch so much easier, so nice to do. It can be done on paper. I know my mum had, I think she may have still chosen to have the larger format PDF, because they do it in a standard format or a large format, which doesn't make any difference if you're putting it into Pattern Keeper. But I think she still takes each page, and my dad will divide the page up for her into like 4, so it's bigger. It's even bigger for her to see. And yeah, she works one page, she'll print off 3 or 4 pages for it, so her symbols are nice and big. but I'm not quite sure how they do that. Apparently they have a system now that works. Yes, I do need to still do that. I've marked off something I haven't done. So yeah, in effect you can get both. You can just choose to print it out or not. I don't think I even bothered printing out my second pattern. My second one just went straight into Pattern Keeper, and I've never printed it out. But it's a file that I have on my computer, and it is there, you know, if for any reason I ever did want to print it out, I could. But I don't. Right. Okay, this glue dot is kind of driving me up the wall now. Angie says you're doing awesome. Finishing, she says, she's also added a second comment. She said, what you have for the past 2 weeks. Yes, I think my progress at the moment, because I'm doing a section a day, is going really, really well. And I'm so happy that I'm keeping up with it. She said, you rock. She said she loves the image and she can't wait to see how it turns out. There are some people on the Facebook group that have actually finished the image as well. They actually probably finished it a year or so ago. They started after me, but were a little bit more dedicated to getting it completed. And they've done an amazing job with it. So I just love seeing everything appear as I go along, and like take that sort of step back and have a look. And all of a sudden you see things like these little wings that are starting to appear, which is what makes me think it possibly will be a fairy. Maybe it will be one that results in it using up a colour that I've not actually, you know, used much before. I still keep hoping to run out of a colour. Not run out as in not have enough diamonds, sorry, but you do all the stitches I need to in a certain colour, because Pattern Keeper does tell me when I've used them all. So this next one, 3607, I've actually used all of them. So I've actually dekitted it. It's not in my storage anymore. So there's 3 colours in this one that I've managed to put away, don't need anymore. And it's like a certain little milestone when I hit those. I really like it. But I've not had any yet. Not since I've restarted. I had quite a few in August when I did a month long of doing a section a day. I ended up with a few that I actually had completely used up all the colour, and got to pack the diamonds away. But I've not had any so far. I'll be well excited when I do. Yolande, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she had a hysterectomy on the 16th of January. She said recovery time is 6 weeks. Oof. She says she's almost at her 4th week. She said she must say that your WIP and waffles have really helped to keep her busy during this tough time, she says, and she wants to say thank you. Oh, well, thank you so much for watching, and I do hope that you're feeling better now. Another week down by the time you hear this comment, so it'll be another week gone. Only 1 more to go, but I'm sure you'll be feeling a lot better now than you were the week before. The last few weeks of recovery are quite often the better ones, I think, because you definitely start to feel a bit more like yourself. I've actually done those 2 as well. She said, side note, she said she's doing much better now and she can at least sit up to diamond paint. Oh, well, that's good. You can keep yourself busy with diamond painting. And as long as you can do the activities that you want to do while you're sat there, then it's not as bad. Right, I'm just scraping at my canvas because when I lifted up this cover paper, I actually hadn't cut this section quite enough, so it actually ripped a little bit, the paper, and I thought I got it all off, but I went to stick a diamond down there and it didn't stick, so obviously I hadn't ripped it enough. So I was just scraping it with my scraper to basically get any of the paper that was left on it off, so my diamond would actually stick. I need to pay attention more when I cut off each section to make sure that it is actually cut all the way through, but not too much that I can't, that I cut through the canvas, because that would just be awful. Right, so I think I can actually do, oh no, not quite all. I can do most of this. Let me do this whole square, and I can actually mark the whole square as done at once. So if I finish putting these diamonds in this bottom square, on Pattern Keeper, what it allows me to do, which would be great at the beginning, there's a few squares where they're all 939, is I can press and hold and tell it to highlight them all, and then just mark them as done. Diamond Sparkle Chase, she says she loves the colour of the tray you're using. She says, will that colour be coming soon? I can't remember what colour tray I used in that video. Was it this blue one? If it's this blue one, yes, we are looking at bringing out a few new basic colour trays. So there will be ones that will be a permanent, well, as permanent as we can keep getting the filament type option in the shop. So we are currently trying to print up as many of this blue as we can to get a nice stock so that we can release it as an always colour. So if it's this blue, then yes. If it's the green, I think I used the green on one of them as well. There is a pale green. That one will be a little bit later than the blue, so that one will be a bit longer. So I have actually tried to consciously stop using that one at the moment, because I feel like it's a bit too early of a teaser, because I have lots of printers doing lots of different things for lots of different projects, and yeah, I think I jumped the gun a little bit too much on the other colour. And then we actually have a third colour, which I'm not even mentioning yet because that's really mean. Because yeah, we just have to see how much we can get the printers to print over the next few weeks, because say they're very, very busy on lots of different things. Seem to be using all the colours at the end of this case. Lots of pinks, filling in all this blossom tree blossom, and sometimes I put some of them next to them and there's not much difference between two of the colours, and it's like, oh, that's why this painting had 239, because they're all very similar shades but ever so slightly different, but none of them have run out yet. Crystal, she says, love this nice long WIP and Waffle. She said she was actually doing a Sherlock cross stitch while watching. She said she's bought many Heaven and Earth design patterns lately and she truly loves them. She says, thank God none of them are in Russian. Oh, my Christmas cross stitch was in Russian. That was fun. Thank goodness for technology. You can actually sort of hold up your camera and it will give you the option to have it translated, which was my saviour. That and the fact that numbers are numbers in any language. They're the same in any language. She said she couldn't have done it. She said she's cross-stitched for 35 years. She said on and off. And it's the only craft, she says, that she always comes back to. There is something therapeutic about cross-stitch. I've been cross-stitching for years as well. I have really long gaps between cross stitch, and I think I never feel guilty, I suppose, for having a really big gap for cross stitch, because I tend to finish a project, albeit my Christmas one took me a bit, but I tend to finish a project before I then pack all my stuff away and don't even think about it for a while. But then I'll fall in love with something again and it'll be like, oh yeah, that'll be nice to do. And I pick it up again. But even when I am cross stitching, I must say at the moment I'm still diamond painting. Now, whether, you know, my passion for it will wane or not, who knows? It's been 4 or 5 years and it's not. But I did cross stitch for 20 years. So, not cross stitch, sorry. Scrapbook for 20 years. So, there's still time. But for now, I'm still loving it. Absolutely loving it. Vanessa, she said, is the light blue tray you're using, so it must have been the light blue, she said, is it a February new tray? She says she doesn't see it on the website. No, it's not on the website yet. We have taken the decision to not release a tray for February. The reason being is the international shipping. At the moment, we are only offering the tracked shipping to anywhere outside the UK and the US. The higher price tracked shipping for, say, any international bar the US, because Royal Mail have had problems following a cyber attack, and things are taking longer to arrive. So we chose not to release a tray because we didn't want to force people outside of the US to either have to pay track shipping, which they may or may not have really wanted to pay, whether that's due to affordability or just their preference. And oh, look, this has gone down from 3 to 2. Look, I get to place 1 and it's gone down to 2. But it's still not done. Yeah, so we've chosen not to do anything limited edition in the launch this month, which will give us a chance to get the postal back up to where it should be. Hopefully, give Royal Mail a chance to catch up. And then people can choose whether they want to pay for track shipping. So if they always paid for track shipping anyway, and it was their preference, then they can still order and have track shipping and everything's fine and dandy. But if they don't like to pay for track shipping / can't afford it, then they can always buy the items that we've launched this month at a later date when we have the standard shipping available. The trays for this month were all printed, so they've been pushed to next month instead, and hopefully everything will be back right, because, you know, we'll have to make some decisions come next month, but we can definitely delay it for a month and hopefully everything will get better. Right, where are these last few colours? Near the end, I think. They're often near the end. Here they are. Laurie, this made me laugh when I saw it come through on email. So Laurie said, she says, warning, she says, I'm a bit chatty here. So it came through as a YouTube comment on my email and was huge. I was like, okay, I need to read this. I need to find out what this is. But she says, hi Rebecca. She says, it's been one of those weeks. Aren't they all? She said she thought of me so often, she said, because of the problems that she encountered. She said, after listening to many of your videos, she says, one of the topics really stuck in her head. She said, Dreamers Designs. She said, yes, the dreaded Dreamers Design. She said she bought 5 canvases from them last May. Sorry, let me tick. So long, it's story time. She says she's finally getting round to starting them. She says as her Diamond Art Club ones are getting scarce. She said she thinks she has my voice bouncing around in her head, she said, about them. She says, but she politely asked me to hold my commentary until she'd at least started the piece. She says, well, it didn't take long, she says, before I could hear you trying to suppress your laughter. She says she went to put on a cover sheet. She said it was one of the Diamond Art Club cover sheets, which are only one-sided. She said, and she accidentally placed it upside down. She said, and boy, did it stick. They do stick. That's why I don't like single-sided, because I'm just more likely to make a mistake. She said, and it was a large sheet too. She said it took a couple of days to get that mess cleaned up. She says, and by the end of that trial, she said, you and I were laughing so much. She said, still can't figure out what was so funny. She says, but we both laughed till we cried. You're awesome. She says, after a big delay in dotting, she said she finally got to lay her first diamonds. She said, and wouldn't you know it, she says, the charting is absolutely horrible. Oh, I kind of wish that you would have had some of the better canvases, Laurie, especially after sticking something to your painting. It's just kind of not fair. She says, I think you must have felt sorry for me, she said, because I couldn't hear you at all. She said, of the result of the horrid charting, she said she laid a ton or two of the wrong diamonds. She said she couldn't believe it. She spent an hour plucking off the diamonds. She said she did complete that section. She said, but she had a hard time figuring out which diamonds to use. Sorry, I keep losing where I'm up to. She said finally felt sorry for herself and started on her Heaven and Earth design, Peony Petals, using a black and white canvas. She says that was a heavenly experience, she said, after her Dreamers Designs charting disaster. She says, of course, it didn't take long, she says, before that picture was completed. It was only 23 inches by 23 inches. She said, and it was time to face her fears. But she decided to work on another Dreamers Designs picture in order to having a positive experience before working on the disaster. She says, can you just imagine, she said, making a chart using a navy blue background with a black letter M symbol. No, because it's those symbols that are always fainter than the rest. The letters with the thin parts are always worse than the rest. She said, and the diamonds wouldn't stick onto the canvas. She said, and the poor quality of the diamonds almost made me cry. Not surprised. She said, long story a bit shorter. She said, got rid of that painting. She says, but for some reason, she saved the diamonds. She says, which was so full of static. Another grand mess. She says she's doing a Diamond Art Club right now. And then she'll start work on her Josephine wall from Diamond Painting Deutschland when the Diamond Art Club is done. She says, by the way, their 60 bottle solid black cases, she says, are awesome. We'll have to have a look at them. I like a bit of storage. She says, thanks for hanging around during my crisis. She says, and she can't wait to hear, hang on, I'm getting diamonds stuck to my glue dot and not to my canvas. she says she can't wait to hear how my new Dreamer Design canvases work out. She says, thanks for listening. Bless you, Laurie. Yeah, my new canvases aren't very good. And I've missed a symbol. Can you see? How far away was it? 961. It was ages ago. Where's my... Oh, actually, it was just my last case. That wasn't too bad. Could have been worse. Yeah, my Dreamer's designs aren't very good. Save it for the summer. If you do it in the summer when you don't need your light pad, so when the evenings are lighter for longer and you don't need to turn your light pad on, it's a lot easier. Having said that, I know that you guys will have seen my kitting up video for my Diamond Art Club. Cosmic. So excited. The kitting up video for that, and in that video I did mention about the symbol for 939 and black, and how they were hard to see the difference. I actually got to start working on it because I did finish my Vivian Fox first. I got to start working on it, and I can assure you that the symbols, when you put the light pad on, they're actually clearer, which it must be the canvas material. So I can assure you that when I turn the light pad on, the symbols were a lot clearer, which means I will have zero problem working on that in winter, which is amazing. Last comment I've got up to today, Linda says that she would suggest to Cat Lady to take the tablet to a battery shop and get the battery checked. She said she suspects that the battery is dying, and if that is the case, they should be able to change the battery for you, which is always good to know. So yeah, that is me up to date on Heaven and Earth Design comments. As you can see here, this is the bit of blossom. So this is the bit that we were messing around with a lot. There is quite a few different sort of symbols than I've had recently here, and definitely over here, though this is a bit, oh, this probably is more actually near the fairy. So we have got some of the tree parts here in this darker, but then there are some symbols that we've not had loads of. If I go this diamond 907, I've not had loads of those. I've not had loads of 906, they're both greens. Then we've also got a couple of others up here that are quite low numbers, and we're using a few more. We'll see if we end up with any that will be done. I think I've talked about wanting to have diamonds going to zero so much that they're just not going to for a good while. So we'll see how we go. Let's have a look. Can I? Oh, there's the fairy. See, can you see her? This is where I'm up to. So that's the angel. This is the fairy that I'm doing. But then a lot of colour is down here. So this is where I think I'm going to use up a lot more of my other colours. But there's my fairy and there's all my pink blossoms. So I've got quite a bit of it going on the left for now. But anyway, that is my section done for today. So let me cross off my middle. And you should see me a row or two down by the next time. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.